it is an extremely useful thing that we can do for the world, which is to make a useful humanoid robot that is capable of interacting with the world and helping in many different ways.
I have to ask, since I care about human-robot interaction, so the human side of that. So you've talked about mostly in the factory. Do you see it also? Do you see part of this problem that Tesla Bot has to solve is interacting with humans and potentially having a place like in the home? So interacting, not just not replacing labor, but also like, I don't know,
well, I think
being a friend or an assistant.
Yeah,
or something like that.
I think the possibilities are, endless. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously like it's not quite in Tesla's primary mission direction of accelerating sustainable energy, but it is an extremely useful thing that we can do for the world, which is to make a useful humanoid robot that is capable of interacting with the world and helping in many different ways. So in factories and really just I mean, I think if you say like extrapolate to many years in the future, it's like I think work will become optional. So like there's a lot of jobs that if people weren't paid to do it, they wouldn't do it. Like it's not fun, necessarily. Like if you're washing dishes all day, it's like even if you really like washing dishes, you really want to do it for 8 hours a day every day? Probably not. So and then there's like dangerous work, and basically if it's dangerous, boring, it has like potential for repetitive stress injury, that kind of thing, then that's really where humanoid robots would add the most value initially. So that's what we're aiming for is to for the humanoid robots to do jobs that people don't voluntarily want to do. And then we'll have to pair that obviously with some kind of universal basic income in the future. So I think.
So do you see a world when there's like hundreds of millions of Tesla bots performing different tasks throughout the world?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it that far into the future, but I guess that there may be something like that.
Ask a wild question. So the number of Tesla cars has been accelerating. There's been close to 2 million produced. Many of them have autopilot.
I think we're over 2 million now. Yeah.
Do you think there will ever be a time when there will be more Tesla bots than Tesla cars?
Yeah, I actually, it's funny you asked this question because normally I do try to think pretty far into the future, but I haven't really thought that far into the future with the Tesla bot, or it's codenamed Optimus. I call it Optimus Subprime because it's not like a giant transformer robot. But it's meant to be a general purpose helper bot, and basically like the things that we're basically like Tesla, I think has the most advanced real world AI. For interacting with the real world, which we developed as a function of to make self-driving work, and so along with custom hardware and like a lot of hardcore low-level software to have it run efficiently and be power efficient, because it's one thing to do neural nets if you've got a gigantic server room with 10,000 computers, but now let's say you have to now distill that down into one computer that's running at low power in a humanoid robot or a car. That's actually very difficult, and a lot of hardcore software work is required for that. So since we're kind of like solving the navigate the real world with neural nets problem for cars, which are kind of like robots with 4 wheels, then it's like kind of a natural extension of that is to put it in a robot with arms and legs, and actuators. Like the two like hard things are like you basically need to have the robot be intelligent enough to interact in a sensible way with the environment. So you need real world AI, and you need to be very good at manufacturing, which is a very hard problem. Tesla's very good at manufacturing, and also has the real world AI. So making the humanoid robot work is basically means developing custom motors and sensors that are different from what a car would use. But we have I think we have the best expertise in developing advanced electric motors and power electronics. So it just has to be for a humanoid robot application, not a car.
Still, you do talk about love sometimes. So let me ask, this isn't like for like sex robots or something like that.
Love is the answer.
Yes. There is something compelling to us, not compelling, but we connect with humanoid robots or even legged robots, like with the dog in shapes of dogs. It seems like, there's a huge amount of loneliness in this world. All of us seek companionship with other humans, friendship, and all those kinds of things. We have a lot here in Austin. A lot of people have dogs.
Sure.
There seems to be a huge opportunity to also have robots that decrease the amount of loneliness in the world, or help us humans connect with each other. So in the way that dogs can. Do you think about that? Would test about it all, or is it really focused on the problem of performing specific tasks, not connecting with humans?
To be honest, I have not actually thought about it from the companionship standpoint, but I think it actually would end up being, it could be actually a very good companion. And it could, you develop like a personality over time that is like unique. Like, it's not like they're just all the robots are the same. And that personality could evolve to be, match the owner, or the, I guess the owner,
well,
whatever you want to call it,
the
companion,
the other
human
half, right? In the same way that friends do. See, I think that's a huge opportunity. I think.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Because like there's a Japanese phrase I like, the wabi sabi. The subtle imperfections are what makes something special.
Yeah.
And the subtle imperfections of the personality of the robot mapped to the subtle imperfections of the robot's human friend. I don't know. Owner sounds like maybe the wrong word, but could actually make an incredible buddy, basically.
And in that way, the imperfections,
like R2D2 or like a C3PO sort of thing,
So from a machine learning perspective, I think the flaws being a feature is really nice. You could be quite terrible at being a robot for quite a while in the general home environment or in the general world, and that's kind of adorable. And that's like, those are your flaws, and you fall in love with those flaws. So it's very much different than autonomous driving, where it's a very high stakes environment you cannot mess up. And so it's more fun to be a robot in the home.
Yeah, in fact, if you think of like C3PO and R2D2, like they actually had a lot of like flaws and imperfections and silly things, and they would argue with each other. And
were they actually good at doing anything? I'm not exactly sure.
They definitely added a lot to the story. But there's sort of quirky elements, and that they would like make mistakes and do things. Like it was like it made them relatable. I don't know, enduring. So yeah, I think that could be something that it probably would happen. But our initial focus is just to make it useful. So I'm confident we'll get it done. I'm not sure what the exact time frame is, but like we'll probably have, I don't know, a decent prototype towards the end of next year or something like that.
And it's cool that it's connected to Tesla, the car.
It's using a lot of, it would use the autopilot inference computer and a lot of the training that we've done for cars in terms of recognizing real world things could be applied directly to the robot. But there's a lot of custom actuators and sensors that need to be developed.